Welcome to the new year. I'm so happy to be here. And obviously, I have got some music in my soul happening right now. Oh my goodness. So, as 2025 is coming to a close, has been coming to a close, I have been doing such intensive work on meditating, visualizing, and empowering my 2026. And I I am so beyond blessed. And so what I really wanted to do in this video today is this technique that I learned in my Wisdom of the Whole Coaching Academy courses. And so I have like the little note card that comes with it. So let's see if I can get you to be able to see it. So it's called The Power of Story. And of course, the smaller writing isn't going to come into focus, and that's okay. You don't need to read it. It's fine. I'm going to explain it. But the end of summer ish, I started feeling called to follow and work with a lot of Kyle Cease's content. And if you've paid attention to my handful of posts, I've mentioned that I've done some of his courses, his meditation bundles, fantastic work. And well, um, I love to be here to support you and work with you. We're allowed to work with many other people. And one of the things that there's a lot that's been coming up for me in the last week or two. Oh, the emotions are strong right now. From my coaching academy, from the Wisdom of the Whole. And one of the things that really drew me to it was how integrated, intuitive, not just mental realm it was. It really helped me tap into, sorry, grab my blanket, starting to feel a little chilled, tap into parts of me that I hadn't really used or developed for so long because everything was supposed to be up here and I was trying to be the good little girl and the perfect professional woman and keep everything up here, and it was soul crushing, right? And so being able to tap into these abilities and skills that I hadn't used in a long time and learning and developing them even more in that coaching program, and then working within the Carrie K community in her Plasma Light Tribe and later the Galactic Ground Crew. And then just working with my own clients and my own business and noticing how whatever I'm working on internally, that's what I'm seeing in the world reflected back at me. And when I work with clients, it is guaranteed that at least 90% of them are going to be facing something that I just faced, that I just like within days, weeks, or months just faced and accepted and healed. And it's so beautiful. And the deeper I go into this, the more that is happening, and also the more I'm noticing maybe some more gaps. Maybe it's been a couple of years since I've dealt with that particular theme or something, but this power of story, and what Kyle Cease calls it, Kylegoing, he kind of puts his own twist on it, is this powerful technique of tapping into something inside of yourself that's not up here in the mental realm. Um, in the wisdom of the whole, they call it mythical tools. I don't know. Yeah. So they have archaic, intuitive slash magic, mythical, and mental kind of layers to work within. And so this one is under mythical for wisdom of the whole. And to me, that feels just so perfect and so timely. And also, it goes deeper than just mythical. And one of the reasons why I say mythical is because it sounds so close to mystical, right? And I've brought it up a couple of times, and I just posted a very short YouTube video of me saying thank you for this end of the year and a little preview of what's coming for 2026. But in this video, I wanted to explain this Kylego, or the power of story, and some of this a little bit more. And then I'm going to do it with you. I am going to review how 2026 went and all of the miracles and miraculous, mystical, magical, magnificent things that happened in 2026. So both Kyle Cease and this power of story ask of you is to look like 1 year in the future, but pretend like you're there. Like, so I'm recording this on December 30th of 2025. But in fact, I'm going to be Kylegoing, because I do love that name. That's a fun name. Kylegoing as though it's December 30th of 2026. So I'm sitting here and I'm sharing with you all the amazing things, and I'm remembering what happened in the power of story for the wisdom of the whole. The tool suggests that I write it down like a story, and I could start with once upon a time, and you write out what happened. And now both talk specifically about that year mark, but I have used it, and I encourage you to use this tool for any time frame that you want. It could be in a few weeks from now, or several years from now looking back, or maybe you have some really big event, presentation, work project, whatever, coming up like tomorrow, and you want to Kylego it as having just finished it, and how incredible it went, and how everything just flowed perfectly and easily in the presentation, and you didn't have to use your notes at all the technology worked flawlessly for you, and the audience was wrapped with attention, and they were engaged, and when you engaged them, they responded and they participated, or whatever it is that you might have. That's just a small example, and just allowing whatever comes out, like it's not scripted. That's the beautiful thing, is this is not scripted. I did this for the first time using Kyle's specific method, Kylego, for one of the episodes of his Your Soul Is Not for Sale event that he recorded, broke into episodes, and is now available for purchase. And I remember, and I think this was right towards the end of August, maybe the beginning of September, that I did this. And I remember kind of starting out thinking like, what's possible? What can I put in there? And then I just really allowed myself to sink into this presence and this now. And something that came out was how I paid off the house. And it it surprised me so much when that came out of me. Like I stopped and was like, I paid off the house. I paid off the house. And my brain immediately goes to, well, how are you going to pay off the house? And that's where you get the opportunity to step out of that brain and start stepping more into here and letting your heart and your soul then lead your brain or your mind. Um, and I know I've talked in different videos and embodied about how, and embodied is my online community, how ego, I'll kind of use ego, brain, mind kind of simultaneously, or that's not the right word, synonymously. There we go. That's the right word. That's the right S word. And in this case, I'm really starting to feel and understand the difference and see it. And for the first few years of doing this work intensively, I didn't really feel or see the difference between my brain slash mind and my ego. Like they were so enmeshed and intertwined that I couldn't really separate them. And now there's this enmeshing is really starting to come apart, and I'm starting to see that difference, and I'm starting to see more gaps between the ego and my mind slash brain. And so this is the opportunity, if you choose to do this exercise with me, to when your ego starts saying, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that, there's no way that's possible, to say, I don't need to know how. That's not where I need to know how. But if you keep doing it, in this last week, for the last 7 days, every day I have essentially visualized 2026 and beyond. I didn't just keep it to a year, and I didn't actually put a time limit on it. So I can't even really tell you. It feels like 5 to 8 years maybe in the future, for some of the stuff. But the further I've gone into it, the more I've started to really kind of feel into the more immediate year ahead. And I've allowed my soul, my heart to really lead these visualizations. And what's been really beautiful about this is my mind is starting to follow. My mind is starting to follow my heart and soul, not my ego. My ego is still back there talking in the back seat of, the van of my life, of like, oh, there's no way this is possible. How are you going to make this happen? How you don't have the money for that. You don't have the network or the people for that, or the followers or whatever. And that's fine. Like, keep talking, whatever. That doesn't mean I have to pay attention to you. That doesn't mean I have to follow you. I get to follow me. And what's been beautiful is my mind is starting to follow me, not my ego, and me down here, me and my heart, me and my soul, my true me, my authentic Lydia. And so the hows are starting to show up. Like, I'm starting to build this trust as I keep doing this. So here in just a moment, I'm going to actually, on this video, do this Kylego, and we're going to see what comes up for this 2025. And I feel like some of it I already know because I've been doing this for 7 days straight now, right? But every day I do it, there's something new or different, and maybe a how comes out. And it's really, really cool, really, really incredible. I'm loving it so much. And so I'd really like to challenge you and invite you into doing this with me. I plan on continuing to do this every day in some form or another. And you can do it for a couple of minutes. You could do it for 10 minutes. You could do it for 20 minutes. I know that one of the Kylegos I did this fall, I just recorded myself on the phone. And I think it was over 20 minutes long where I just let it pour out of me. And what's beautiful is the more you do this and you really just let your soul, your heart speak through you, the more your body feels it, the more your body believes it, the more your nervous system believes it and starts to follow that, not these old stuck patterns of stress and high alert and disease and inflammation. Your nervous system starts to follow your soul, and your soul is healed. Your soul is health itself. Your soul is abundance. Your soul is love. Your soul is expansion. Your soul is everything that your small self is not. And the more you start to let your heart, your mind, your body follow your soul rather than your small self, your ego, the more everything in your life starts to align. Like everything that just wasn't quite fitting or that you felt you had to force before just starts to become easy, and things start to happen and fall into place like tumblers in a lock, just aligning, just to open up that door for you. So grab my water again because hydration is important and my throat gets dry. So let's take those deep breaths. Sink in to your body, to your breath. And maybe you want to do this with me, and maybe this time you just listen and hear what is possible. Maybe you're just opening yourself up to hear what someone else's possible is, to feel that energy of infinite expansion and possibility and potential flow from me into your field so that you can start to soak it in and feel what is possible for you. And if you do decide to do this with me, then I definitely invite you to record yourself or write it down afterwards or even during. Maybe you don't even speak it aloud and you just write it down. But let's do this. I remember a year ago when I was recording this video and talking about how I had just done 7 days of really incredible visualizations for my life and my business, and how expansive it felt and how excited I was to go into 2026. And now I'm here about to go into 2027. And oh man, wow. Things that I had Kylegoed and envisioned and felt were so on the money. They were so there. And not everything happened exactly the way um, I had Kylego did a year ago, but oh my goodness, like, yet it all happened. That energy that I had embodied and embraced and stepped into carried me forward so quickly, so fully, so expansively. So, like, shortly after I had made this video and Kylego, I got to meet the first person to join me on my team. And I had been praying for and envisioning and meditating on the support that I needed, because I realized at the end of 2025 that I had let go of so many attachments, and that attachment of needing others to lead, guide, help, support, and that attachment to I can't do it on my own, that was also weirdly linked to this attachment of to the idea and the belief that I have to be able to do it all on my own before I'm worthy to receive help. I I was really, last year at the end of the year, I was really releasing all of that attachment to those old patterns and really coming into this knowing of I am Lydia. I am powerful. I am enough. I am love. I am abundance. I am belonging. I am innocence. I am creativity. And I am value. And I am not alone. And I let the universe, I let God, I let Gussie, God slash universe slash source slash creator, my little name for God, my Gussie. I let Gussie just show up in these people who just came into my life and back into my life. And suddenly someone connected with me and my work and my energy so deeply. They just believed in what I was creating and what I was birthing so much that they they just they asked, can I be part of this? Can I help you do this? Can I help get your message out into the world? And it was so beautiful because they had this creativity and this desire and spark to help get me out on social media and um, get my website up to par with SEO and all of those things that, like, a year ago, like, I knew they were important and I knew that they were an integral part to uh, getting my message out, getting my energy and expansion out into the world, but they weren't. what I was passionate about doing. And this person stepped in and they brought all that passion and skill set into it. And we got my podcast launched even quicker than I thought, because honestly, at the end of last year, I had no clue how I was going to make it happen in the time frame that I really felt kind of calling to me, because it was like, oh my God, there's so much to do. And I just let it go at apparently the perfect time, because this person stepped in and we became this incredible team. And I got this incredible initial um, podcast cover art created for the podcast, at the intersection of mystical and mundane. And I got the platform launched and I got the website going, and the social media following started taking off. And I can't, I still can't believe it's been a year almost since I got the podcast launched, and I can't believe how many people are already following it and embracing this intersection of life at the mystical and the mundane, and bringing the mystical into the mundane every single day. And I had this just just this incredible birthing of my creativity, um, even musically. And I never felt worthy enough to actually bring my music and my musical creativity out into the world unless I was tucked away safely in some band, like in high school, like 120-piece band. Like, we're not talking small here. Like, I was always nicely and neatly hidden away. And now I'm sharing my voice and I'm finding new musical expression that I never even envisioned before for me. And it's so incredible. And it's even helping fuel some of the soundtracks for my guided meditations that are just flowing from me, and even parts of my podcast. And I'm writing and sharing these stories that are coming out of me, whether they be real life experiences or these incredible little mythical, mystical fables and fictional stories that bring so much truth and power through them to the readers and the listeners. And next month I get to go on my book tour, because that's right, I just published a book. And I am so amazed at how it happened. A year ago, I didn't have any kind of like routine. I wasn't working dedicated hours, and I still had this idea of what a work day had to look like. And I was still working through these attachments to, well, at this point, my husband is so used to being me just available at the drop of a hat most days for different things. And how do I start setting those boundaries and saying, no, I got to do this? And And very, very quickly in the new year, it just like shifted for me. And I just started working. And the meditation and the visualization, the Kylegoing just was part of my workday. And I started just coming up into my office to do that meditation and visualization because I had noticed that when I did that, I started feeling this creativity and these stories and these things to come out. And so rather than being down in my comfy chair and away from my computer and my recording equipment and my art supplies, I decided let's just come up here to my office and start my day up here. Like it just makes sense because then things just flow. And then when things naturally started to come to a breaking point, I went and I did my workout and I ate and showered. And then I was able to come back refreshed and renewed for the next part of my workday. And I think what's so incredible to me is how it's my workday, but it's not a workday. It's my create day. That's my normal now is I just come and create and it like there's these dedicated times to it and it doesn't feel like work or a chore. And I think at the end of last year, I was still so scared that I was going to end up feeling like this was work and it was going to start feeling like a chore and I was going to start feeling so stressed out about having to create and show up in these spaces every day and it never became that. It never did because instead of that work day it became create day. I had to, and it wasn't a have to or a should, it was I get to. And sometimes my create days called me outside into nature, into spending time with my husband on the golf course, just appreciating life and those mundane parts of it that were becoming more and more infused with the mystical and the synergy between my heart, my soul, and my mind, my brain, that connection where my mind used to be so intertwined with my ego that I couldn't really tell the two of them apart. Now I'm noticing instead that marriage between my soul and my mind, where it's this beautiful partnership where my soul creates this space in the ideas and the expansion and the unknown and the power and the love for it all to happen. And my mind says, yep, this is how, this is what it looks like. Here are the details. Here's what's happening. And we just together make it happen and put it out into the world. And it's so incredible. And it's been so amazing to watch myself grow and expand into that while at the same time experiencing it. And uh, and I remember around March when I started first really advertising and putting out my new one-on-one intensive coaching program, Nourished. Um, and I remember being so amazed at the response to it, to the applicants I had to work with me in that first revamped, that first cohort of the revamped Nourish Your Roots program, because this thing that had birthed in me a couple years ago, three years ago now, with the Nourished Your Roots, it was good, but it was still, when I first brought that to life, it was still so attached to different patterns and beliefs that were limiting. And and when this rebirth happened for me at the beginning of 2026, and the death of all of those patterns and beliefs at the end of 2025 that allowed this rebirth, this Nourished became this, basically this brand new thing. You can see the, I guess, the outline of the original, but it's like it went from an embryo to a fully formed human being, adult, grown, magical, mystical, and amazing. And I filled that first cohort. I filled it. Like, I remember envisioning it, but at the same time doubting it at the end of 2025. Like, oh, there's no way. I've never filled a cohort yet. I've always had spots still open, and not this time. This time it was filled, and it was filled with people who really truly were a fit. I wasn't just filling these slots with people who were interested, but who were going to fade out, fizzle out, and be a drain on me until they did. No, these were people who were ready to explosively grow and expand with me in 2026. And my God, we did it. It's still so incredible what I have to like physically show for it, and is incredible. Like, the house is paid off. Like, I did pay off the house. I took my show on the road, as it were, and like road tripped, partly with my husband and partly on my own, for a good chunk of time in the summer. And it just, I met with clients from wherever I was at, wherever I had an internet connection. So I kept, like, my open hours. I kept producing episodes for my podcast and kept showing up with my embodied community. And the how do I even put into words what I felt during that time? Just new. Everything was so new and amazing, and everything still is so new and amazing. Like, I still have that new car smell. I still have that, ooh, it's shiny feeling. That excitement, that giddiness, that intense love and belonging to myself and belonging to the world, because that connection that I know is there just really, really came home this past year. And my embodied community has really, really grown with me too. That deep feeling of taking the knowledge from up here and making it a permanent part of my DNA, turning it into wisdom, alchemizing it into power and creation inside my body, and witnessing others in embodied do the same, and hearing how their lives changed with what often can feel in the moment like such small realizations that became monumental, life altering shifts. I am so blessed. I am so blessed that this is my life, that this is me, that I get to keep birthing these beautiful, beautiful stories in expansive moments. I get to host events where people get excited and shift their entire lives and really just grab hold of that mystical and bring it down into the mundane and let it go, and watch as the mundane completely changes. And oh man, looking forward into 2027. It feels even more like home than 2026 has in my body. And that's incredible. Who knew I could feel even more expansive, more creative, more at home in my body and my soul, even more connected, and to see the world start to shift on a global scale where fewer and fewer people bought into the media and what they were trying to sow with their fear mongering, and to see the shifts in the political landscape that none of us ever thought possible, partly because before it never was. And to to experience this is, it's amazing to see the entire world's frequency just start to rise, start to harmonize. All of this discordant energies and harmonies and notes are starting to just drown out and become silent because of all of the people around the world who are feeling embodied, who are feeling the mystical in the mundane, and who are willing and open to let the unknown in and to let Gussie do its thing. So that's me, Kylegoing my 2026. And I am going to commit now to doing this every single day for at least the month of January. And we will see what happens after that. But I invite you to do something similar. And even if it feels incredibly silly and not at all possible, just do it consistently every day with me for the month of January, or even just the first week, and just be open to the shifts that can take place in your body and in your mind as you let your soul show you it is possible. Let's do this together. Because while we are responsible for doing our own work, and we can't passively heal, we are active participants in our healing, in our growth, and in our expansion. We are not alone. And we are not doing this on our own. Even coaches need coaches. Even therapists need therapists. Even spiritual leaders and teachers need that support from other spiritual leaders and teachers. All of us get to do this together, and we get to grow into this amazing collective where each of us gets to be authentically our own, and we get to contribute in unique, incredible ways that no one else could. You have something to share with the world that no one else can share. I don't know about you, but I've heard that before. And simultaneously, I would be excited, like, yes. And at the same time, that little egoic small self voice would be back there saying, yeah, but how are you going to do it? And what does it look like? And there's no way you could do that. And you don't have to know what it is. You don't know how have to know how you're meant to share it right now. Just trust that you have your own unique ripple and offering for this world. And by just doing the work every single day, by just meditating, by just showing up for yourself in silence every day, by just trusting in your soul every day and allowing yourself to grow into whatever your soul has for you every day, you are making that contribution. You are rippling it out. Took me a long time to really embody that, and I'm really starting to shift that out of the knowledge and into that DNA wisdom in my body. My nervous system is starting to respond and know it and feel it. And I invite you to come with me into that. I love you. Thanks for staying with me. And be sure to like and subscribe and throw me a comment. As of this moment in 2025 that I'm making this, I haven't had a lot of opportunities to engage with you in the comments section. And I would love for that to change. I would love to hear your voice, to share your heart with the world. And I'm so grateful you're here, even if you decide to stay silent in the comments. I know you're here. I feel you, and I am so grateful for you. Now let's go into 2026 and make it the most mystical, magical, magnificently divine year ever.